Welcome everyone to episode 45 of the Circle Back podcast, the show where three great friends get together and talk about video games. I'm Dan LaMarca. As always, I'm joined by Dan Dufrenoy.
Hola.
And Shelby White.
Howdy.
And guys, this is going to be an interesting episode because we have played a shitload of games, and we're pretty much just going to talk about the games throughout. I want to start out with VR, virtual reality. I know Dan has yet to take the dive, but Shelby just recently bought a bundle. I had it since it launched because I have problems. And I want to start with my favorite VR experience I've ever had, and one of my favorite games of the year, Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Easily.
Shelby played it too.
Easily. I mean, I bought that bundle, which if you have been, like me, trying to come up with an excuse for buying VR, this is the excuse for buying. It's like $100 off at and what is it? GameStop, Target, Best Buy, Walmart.
It was on Kohl's.
The Kohl's.
I was like, "What is Kohl's?"
Kohl's always trying to keep up with the big contenders.
Did you actually buy it as soon as he how did that happen?
I bought it like the day before.
How weird is that?
That's so weird. Yeah.
I sent a group text to these guys, basically a picture of, hey, VR with Astrobot and Moss is $200 right now.
It's fantastic.
Which is such a good value. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Normally the VR is $300 on its own.
Yeah.
And now it's
then you're adding
$200 with $70 worth of games.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Which is awesome. And there's other bundles out there too. Like I said, I think they have one with Creed. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing about the Astrobot one, it doesn't come with the motion controllers.
Okay.
You know, so that's the thing. It comes with the
because Astrobot and Moss don't use motion controllers. Yeah.
Which I love the way Astrobot uses the controller. Like other ones, you just you can use a controller, but this one uses it.
We'll talk about it.
Let's
get right into Astrobot. So, first of all, this is going to sound hyperbolic, but when I played Astrobot for the first time, so the reason I've had VR for a long time, but I was like, you know what, Game of the Year time is coming. People really like Astrobot and Moss. I was like, I got to play these games. You know, I got a gift card for my birthday. I was like, let me download these games and just try them out. And I jumped into Astrobot, and on the first level, I was like almost a little choked up because it was just such I had the biggest smile on my face, like such an interesting, cool idea for a game. Astrobot is basically a third-person platformer in the vein of, like a 3D platformer in the vein of like a Mario 64 type of thing. But it uses VR in a way that is vital to the game, and it's absolutely incredible. It's basically, so I'll just give you the best example is just the first level when you start up. So you're this little guy, this little Astrobot. He like lives in your controller, and he pops out of the touchpad. Like a touchpad opens up like a flap, and he jumps out, and you're controlling him like a normal control game, but you also have head control. You're moving left and right. You're looking underneath things, so you are like a giant robot that's looking over this little Astrobot. Much.
By the way, I love when they every now and then there'll be a mirror.
Yeah, there'll be like a camera.
And you look at the thing and you see your controller and yourself, and you kind of look.
And you move your head around. Hey, that's me. But so what you're doing is it constantly is playing with your perspective, where it's like, you know, right when I get in every level now, I just turn completely around and I'm like, what's behind me? Because it's like Donkey Kong Country, there's going to be stuff behind me. Yeah.
I think the third level, if you turn around, there's So
what you're doing is you're changing, they'll put a couple steps with some coins and stuff, and so you're changing the angle, and you're running this Astrobot around, jumping up, but it's just, and I'm not exaggerating, it is a Nintendo quality platformer. It's as good as 3D World.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And it's got this awesome VR hook, and the things that they do. The reason that this game's great, and we'll talk more specifics about the actual platforming and how it feels, but there's 5 worlds, each with 4 levels and a boss. And each time, basically, throughout the stages, they give you different gadgets for your controller. So, one of them will be
the first one's that hook shot.
It's like a hook shot. So there will be little hook points, and you slide the touchpad and shoot out a grappling hook, and then you make Astrobot jump on it to cross a chasm or something. then you get like a water sprayer.
And it's connected to your controller. So like you could
So it's
move it to the
gyroscope.
left a little bit, and now he's walking on diagonal. I think
you can do
so
this.
if you shake the controller, he bounces up on the thing.
Yes.
So the actual PlayStation controller
Is connected to the grappling
So
hook.
in the game,
Yeah, okay.
So like,
because here's the thing, in the
legit,
game,
like,
it
fling it.
visualizes the controller you're holding. So the controller is part of the game world.
Which they need to make, because as soon as mine turned
so
into that
cool
super
looking,
cool one, I was
know.
like, they need to make this a
basically
real
what you do is
controller.
like it starts out and there's just like a hologram of the controller, and you put this one into it, and it like transforms the controller, and then the controller's in the game. So like when you
Yeah. I think it's kind of like a calibrating thing in the beginning of each level.
Yes.
And you pop it in, and then you have it. So like you pick it up and you do this over here, your controller's over here.
That's so
And I
awesome.
want to say the level of detail when if you look down at the controller after you get the grappling hook, you see like the gears spinning
on the top of
and
it,
the wire inside the controller. Like you see it when you shoot.
It's incredible.
The level of polish and the quality of this game is totally unrivaled, and I've never, outside of like Nintendo Rare, like if you had said this is a Nintendo first party game, I would believe you. Like it's that
Wow.
kind of game.
My original first thought, because that's exactly what it is, as much as I love Ratchet and Clank, I bring it up all the time, but it was like the children's version with no weapons to me, the platforming feel, you know,
Yes.
just like you kind of have this like, these cool looking levels, cool music playing and stuff like that, popping over these enemies
Right.
and stuff. And it was just like, all right, I got this little, like, that's Clank jumping around, you know, like sort of thing.
That's
but
cool.
as far as the platforming, he couldn't be more right. It's like you're in Super Mario 3D Land or 3D World or whatever one.
So what's like the core object of the game, just to get this bot?
So,
from
that should explain it.
A to B?
The rest of the title of the game is Astro Bot
Rescue
Rescue Mission.
Okay.
So all of your little guys got.
So at the beginning of the game,
a giant slime
we'll
guy
say
or
this
something.
giant slime comes over, and they play around with VR because like this like mama astrobot pretty much is like this round like ship that carries all these little astrobots. There's like 200 something of them, and then there's one main guy that has like a little cape that you control. So what you're
The
doing
little ship
is
kind of looks like the what was it? What's that movie? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
it
The
does
little
remind me
circles
of
there,
that.
it looks
Yeah,
like
it
that.
does remind me of that. But basically, this slime creature comes over in a spaceship and like rips the thing to shreds. This ship, this like this thing's mom pretty much just rips it up and like takes all these pieces, puts on the VR goggles that are on the front of it, and like flies off. And what you're doing is you're going through each level. There are 8 hiding astrobots.
You gotta save your friends.
Because they're like, they need rescuing. So it'll be like they're up on the ledge like, help, help. So it's a collectathon in a sense, but it's like there are 8 astrobots to be rescued, and then there's one space chameleon. Yeah. Which basically the chameleon is like, he's hidden in different spots throughout the level, and you just, once you look at him, he'll like blink, and then you keep your eyes
he's
on
a
him.
chameleon, so he's invisible.
Yeah.
You know, he's
so you'll
blended
see
in.
a little outline, and you'll look at him, and then he'll like blink a color, and then if you keep looking at him, he'll like, show his true colors, and then there you go, you collected the chameleon. So you're going through getting all 8 of these guys, getting the chameleon, and then next level. Yeah. And then each world has a boss. I'm not going to spoil stuff like that, but the way some of these things feel with scale, like the bosses you fight and stuff, it's so good.
And it's got like the hub world kind of has like a Crash Bandicoot feel to it almost, where like it's world 1. You got to look at it. You press X, you go to it, and then it's like spins, and it's like you've unlocked 1 through 5, and it
reminds me of Galaxy. That's what it reminds me of.
Cool.
The world,
yeah.
because
you're right. That's
it's
a better
literally
comparison.
a globe floating in the space, and you look at it, you hit it, and then you can like cycle through which part of the world you want to.
And it shows you like obviously there's 8 kind of what's it called, see-through circles, and it's like, oh, you unlocked the first 2 guys or found the first 2 guys. You didn't find that 3rd guy, but you found the other 5. You know?
So
and the chameleon at the end. So it's like, and there's coins in every level. And you get to spend the coins in the hub world on like...
That's super cool. You beat the first world and you went to the...
I beat the first world. Well,
did you go to the crane thing or no?
I went to the crane thing. I bought a whole bunch of things. Here's my only qualm so far. The game's fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. But you can only have 1 save file. So I went and I was like, oh, my sister's got to play this. And I was like, Ash, go into this and start a new game.
The secret is just sign in a new profile. Like,
and
create a profile or use a user or something, and you can play a new game without
that's
erasing.
What it was. So she's like, yeah, I started a new game. I was like, what'd you think? And then I went to go play, and I was like,
it's just coins.
Damn it.
So once you
I was like, I beat 2 worlds already, and now I got to start over.
Once you find the astrobots, they just become coins in the world, and it's so funny because like when I say
so you don't
I need you to come
ones.
I need you to come over and try this before game of the year, but I'm like, you need to start a new game because there's a difference between the little Astrobot being like, help,
right, and then
and like a coin, you know what I mean?
So like in Super Mario, how the star becomes like hollow.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but not only that, when he's saying the help thing, it's huge because the VR set has its own headphones that you could put in. You don't have to listen to it, but I turn the TV down and I put the headphones in, and you can control the volume from there. And you can hear, like, if the guy's to your right, you hear him in your right ear, and you're like,
that's how you find
there's a guy over there somewhere.
This is actually my one complaint about the game is... So the VR set, I know you just got it. You can plug in any headphones into it.
I was gonna do that and put mine over the head.
I put mine over.
That's I figured you could.
You know, if you have good headphones,
those fall out.
I've never used those. Even day one, I plugged them in.
Yeah.
And but my one qualm is the directional sound is excellent throughout the entire game, but with the Astrobots, it's not consistent. It's like you'll hear a noise in your left ear even if he's to your right.
Oh,
and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but
I mean, again, I've only been through the first 2 worlds, so I haven't like.
I beat this game. I adore
I don't think
this
it's
game.
very long, right? It's a couple hours, probably. But it's a collectathon, so it's like you can go back and play the whole game over again.
I've gotten everything, every bot and every chameleon.
That's awesome. And what the chameleon things do is they unlock a challenge level and I think it's every single level has a chameleon, right?
Every single level has a chameleon, and then it's like a challenge version of that.
So if you find the chameleon, you get it.
You get a challenge.
You get it. There's a whole nother challenge world for each level.
And what those challenges, they range from like the boss fight ones are always like beat this boss without losing 1 health, and you'll get 2 stars, and you get both because you're actually rescuing bots.
It's like a gold bot and a silver bot, I think, right?
Yeah, if you get a gold on the challenge, you rescue both bots. If you get silver, you rescue 1.
See, this game sounds bad for my OCD because I feel bad for all the bots and want to collect them all. So like,
there's like 300.
I kill myself to like all the bots.
There's 220, something like that. But I enjoyed every single one. Like, this is such a good collectathon game because it's like I wanted to get them all. Yeah. And it didn't make it a chore. Mm-hmm. It didn't make it like, oh, I have to go back. Like, it was just so much fun to explore.
That's awesome.
And the first thing there was one funny thing when I first started playing it. I was like, all right, there's a controller. Let me sit down. So I sit down on the couch and I was like, this is awesome. Playing through it, looking around, and there was one part where you couldn't see around the corner, and I was like, I can't see anything. Where am I jumping to? I was like, oh, I'm wearing a virtual reality helmet. Let me get up. And I got up and I walked over and I looked around and I was like, all right, that's where I got to jump to, you know? Mm-hmm. So it was like, space.
It does that again and again, and it every time it's just, and I'm telling you, when I say like a smile on my face, like every time I play this game, every level, I'm just like, it's just pure joy. This game, it is like such a good, warm, like fun game. The music is awesome. The environments are incredible. The differences that they do in certain levels, like I have like a list of like 8 levels. I'm like, before game of the year, Dan's gonna play these levels because they're so unique and so different from each other. And I'm not gonna spoil any, but like there's something about like turning your head, looking down this like corridor as your guy runs and runs back. Like it's just so cool to be in control of that level. It's an excellent game.
It's
fantastic. It knows exactly how to use VR, and it does it perfectly. I kept making a joke to friends like, this is the same Sony made this game.
Okay.
It's their Studio Japan made it. Sony made Knack. How did you know what I mean? Like, how do you understand how a 3D platformer is made into this level where it's such a, like, really almost a perfect execution of this idea, and then Knack? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, guys, like, this is your game. Like, this is amazing. Yeah. But
so Astrobot.
Astrobot, man.
Astrobot's fantastic.
It's so good.
But
we don't need to get. I want Dan to play Astrobot, and we'll definitely be talking about it come game of the year.
Listen,
time.
It's upstairs.
All right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right.
We got time.
I have a couple more VR games if you don't have anything else to say to Astrobot.
So Astrobot's the one though. Out of all the VR games, that's the
So I'm not even gonna lie. Like I said before, I was like, oh, this feels like a Ratchet and Clank game to me. Like if it was for kids collectathon thing, I was like, Dan's gonna love this game. I was like, once Dan plays this, Dan's gonna fall in love with this game. Because I knew he liked it already, because I had spoken to him about it last week, and I was like, as soon as I started playing it, same thing. Like,
that's like my bread and butter.
Pure elation. As soon as you start the first level, I was like, Dan's gonna love this game.
Every time they would have such a clever idea, and I'd just be like, oh my god, like this is so
and how good
awesome.
do the bosses look? Like, I've only seen 2 of them, but they look so good. And of course, use like the same way almost any game ever, especially Zelda-like, where you just got this for the dungeon. Like, this is the grappling hook you got for this dungeon. Guess what? You're gonna need it to fight the boss, sort of thing. You know, like it's fantastic.
The entire time they keep surprising you and being like, wow, like that was awesome. The entire game, right up until the final boss, which I think is like such an incredible final boss fight. It's just an amazing game. One thing before we do move on, you mentioned briefly the crane game.
Oh yeah.
So when you collect coins in these levels, you go back to this hub that is like a little toy box, pretty much, and it's like you can run around, and what you do is you put your coins into this crane game, and then you like your little astrobot goes in the crane, and there are capsules in the machine. You grab a capsule. When you pop it open, it has basically like a figurine of something in the astrobot world. And what you do is, once you get a bunch of them, you can choose like your environment, because there's, a fiery world, there's like a sky world, a city world, and they all have different enemies and environments. And you like punch this little button, and it'll transform your little playroom into that environment. And seeing these things in these miniature version, and like you run around as Astrobot, like jumping around, you can beat up the enemies, like you see the bosses in the sky. It's like, it's such a unique thing, and it's not something that's easily explained, because you might look at video of this and be like, all right, it's a cool little platformer, but
when you're in there,
to be in it, and that's kind of the story of VR in general, is like, you don't really get it until you do it.
Right, yeah.
But I have always known that VR is a valuable thing, and it's going to be, huge in the future, hopefully, because I think it does work.
I think AR is bigger right now, but VR is going to be...
Well, yeah.
AR in the sense of Pokemon Go.
Sure.
Like augmented reality is what's big right now, but VR, especially now that it's becoming more and more affordable,
potential.
Is it's incredibly...
But what I was getting at with that was like, this is the first game that made me say, like, this is why you need to have this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's not some crazy, like, oh, you think you're in the real world or anything. It's just making a great game that uses what it has so well. It's incredible. And there are other great VR games, and I'm gonna talk about a couple more great VR games, but this game is very, very, very special.
Yeah.
And
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's just one of those where it's like, for me, it was the first game I played upon getting the VR. Mm-hmm. And I know VR came out like 2 years ago.
Set the bar really high.
Oh my god, that's what I mean. It's like, I played it and I was like, this is like a phenomenal launch title. This is like Switch with Breath of the Wild. I was like, this is fantastic. Again, I know it's not a launch title, but for me, it was when I first got it. Like, but that's how it felt, and I was like, this is incredible. Huh?
Yeah, so again, that was Astrobot Rescue Mission. It's made by Sony Japan. And next VR game I want to talk about is another incredible game. To me, these are the two big games this year in VR. Astrobot Rescue Mission and Moss.
Okay. I've heard a lot of that Moss.
Moss,
I think I've actually heard of that.
I have not beaten. I'm about 3 hours in. Really, really enjoying it, but it's hard to compare. They're totally different games, but it doesn't have that magic that Astrobot has for me. But it is a great game, though. I will also say the visuals aren't... Playing Astrobot and Moss at the same time is really a shame for Moss, because so Moss is in a similar way, and I think this is a big problem in VR until they figure it out. You are similar to Astrobot. You are this entity looking over a little creature.
Okay.
So you're this thing, you're called like a watcher or a reader or something like that, and you are looking over this little mouse called Quill. And you're basically in direct control, similar to Astrobot, but the difference is it's a static diorama so it's basically micro stages. Like it'll be like, here's this little thing that's in your view. That's the stage. Control Quill, solve the puzzle. When she gets to the end, it'll like fade to black and then fade back up with like a new diorama of the next area.
Okay.
And you can like look back and you'll see the previous level. Like it's all one environment. It's just Astrobot does this thing where it puts you on a rail, and as you move the Astrobot through the world, it just like pulls you forward. Where Moss is kind of afraid to do that, I think, because they don't want to make you nauseous or something, and so they're just like, let's just fade to black quick and fade you back up on the new part of the level, you know. So
it sounds like a rat trying to find the cheese through a couple of puzzle mazes.
I mean, it is. It certainly is.
That's what it looks like. And your main character is a mouse.
Yeah. But the thing about Moss is, it's a storybook presentation. You're literally flipping pages of a storybook in the beginning. Okay. And it it'll play out a couple pages of story, and then it'll spit you into the world, and you control Quill. And there's a whole background, like, something happens, your uncle like needs to go somewhere, and then you end up being like, I need to make sure he's all right because he just went out on his own. The thing about this game is the animation of Quill is like incredible. Like seeing that little mouse in VR, like the way its tail moves, the way it's super detailed and beautiful, but the actual fidelity and the resolution, it doesn't touch Astrobot. And it's hard when you're in VR.
Did Moss come out first?
Yes, but not by much. They both came out this year. 6 months, 5 months, So in VR, they have a thing called the screen door effect, where because your eyes are right up on the screens, you see, it almost looks like you're looking through a screen door. Everything's like a little weird looking. In Moss, it's noticeable because the resolution of these environments and of the creatures is just lower. They did a great job with the animation and the frame rate and everything. It seems really solid, but they did it at a cost of the resolution. And I don't want to sound negative on this game. It's just I am playing them at the same time.
Right, so it's
yeah. There are things, like I said, I really, really like this game. I'm not knocking it. I'm just letting everyone know ahead of time. It is kind of jarring to go back and forth. But like I said, the animation is like second to none. It's beautiful. So basically what you're doing is you're basically controlling Quill on this journey to find her uncle, make sure he's all right, whatever. And it's very... it's puzzly in like a Shadow of the Colossus puzzles kind of way, or like a like you're moving blocks around because you're the watcher, the reader, whatever, and you're reaching out and like pulling objects and like lifting
to get
things,
him to go. It is like
and then controlling him to jump up. Yeah, it's a lot like Eco. Yeah.
Okay.
So he also has, or she, I think Quill's a girl. She has a little sword. And so, like, square, it has, like, a 3-button combo, like, nothing too crazy, but she has a jump, a dodge, and an attack. And I think the combat actually feels pretty good. It has, like, some animation priority, similar to, like, a Dark Souls or something like that, where it's, like, you better know where you're swinging because you're going to be left open right after. You know what I mean? You can just mash. But, yeah, I mean... I don't have too much to say about it because, again, I haven't finished it. I think the story has been engaging. They do a good job presenting it in a storybook fashion, and they have, like, a narrator, like a nice female voice narrator. Reminded me of Unfinished Swan in that way. It is really cool because Astrobot feels like a living world around you. This is really like a diorama, and it's really cool to see these things in a diorama style where you're like, wow, like I just want to look at this like cool little little house they made. You know what I mean? Like it is really, really impressive. It is tough. If I had played this game when it came out in May or June or whatever, I might have been like, guys, you gotta play this. And I still think everyone should play it. But the fact that I'm playing it at the same time as Astrobot, I think is hurting it. Yeah. And again, it's a totally different game. It's an action adventure rather than just a 3D platformer. Like it's not going for the same thing. But in both games you're this large looming, thing controlling this little thing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's hard, but I am really, really enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where the story goes because I think I'm around halfway. I would guess.
Okay.
I would guess it's around 6 to 8 hours.
Well, guess what? You can get them both in a bundle right now.
That's right. That
Like
bundle is
$200.
badass. That bundle is badass.
And I'll tell you what, I'm not sure if the other stores are doing it too, but GameStop has like a sale on their VR games.
Yeah.
Like Creed was money off. Their game Farpoint, I want to say.
Farpoint's the shooter.
Farpoint is a shooter. It's like $10 or something like that. Like they're in a sale.
Yeah,
so I picked up a couple of them.
It's tough to. I would say caution if you do have VR because I really think that there are only maybe 6 to 8 games that are worth buying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Super Hypercube is an incredible game. I think
everybody's talking about Tetris Effect.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Tetris Effect soon. Let's take a quick break though, and we'll jump in. I got 2 more VR games to talk about. All right, so the next VR game I want to talk about is called Beat Saber. This one actually just came out. I just started playing it.
I've heard nothing but good things.
So it's great. It is. So we were talking off camera about Thumper. Thumper is a rhythm game where you're this little beetle going down a track, and the music, like depending on the music, you go like left, right, slam, like you're doing all these different things, and it's very rhythmic. This is more like a traditional rhythm game where you have notes coming down a highway. Pretty much, you can think about it like
Guitar Hero.
Similar to Guitar Hero, except what it is though is it's these cubes that are coming at you from like in space because you're in VR, and you have 2 move controllers that are 2 different lightsabers, and as the notes come down, so it's a cube that'll be either red or blue, left hand, right hand, and it'll have an arrow pointing in the direction you have to hit it.
Oh, cool.
So, do you get to play as Star Wars characters?
No. I mean, you never see your body anyway.
Yeah.
But basically, it just gets really cool because the notes, they do a good. Obviously, if they made a rhythm game, I would hope they know what they're doing with rhythm games. But they really make it feel like you're dancing with the music as you're hitting these notes because it's like you'll have like right hand down, up, while your left hand, you know what I mean? Like you're constantly doing this. There's like chords where it's both notes and you're swinging.
So you're saying is if I walk into your room, you're just like.
Oh yeah, you're like dancing like this.
So I've seen a couple of videos of this, and some of it looked incredibly difficult.
Yeah, so I've tried.
I'm sure there's a easy.
I've tried expert, and I'm not ready for it, but I beat a couple levels on hard so far, and yeah, it definitely gets intense. This is a game that's impossible to describe. As I'm talking about, I'm realizing.
It's just like I've only seen it through videos.
Yeah, you just got to think about it like there's 2 lightsabers, and you're hitting the notes based on which hand you're hitting with is based on the color. Yeah. So they'll do a lot of like couple with this hand, and then together, and then opposite. You know what I mean? Like they have a lot of different ways where they can do it, and a lot of times they'll match them up to the rhythm, so you're hitting on the beats and stuff. And
so it's not real songs.
So it is real songs. It's not popular songs in a way that Rock Band That's the one problem I have with this game, and I think it's a big problem for the game's longevity.
Okay.
Because if this had real popular songs, this thing would be a huge hit. Like it plays great, it feels great. The environment around you is like crazy, looming, like beautiful. Like it reminds me of Thumper. Actually, it's like just harsh.
Well, when you were talking about it, I was like, oh, it's like Thumper. That sounds, yeah.
But if it was, not that Thumper. If it was, because I don't like the music.
No, it's not great.
But it's still just some. You know what it is? It has.
But you're immersed in the world of it anyway.
You know what it is? The music has the right beats for the game.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter that I think the music is bad. It's rhythmic and it's good in a way, and it's varied enough where it's like, okay, like I get it. I like this game. If it had real music, like this thing could be crazy popular. Yeah. Like it is
cool.
It's such a great framework. I want you guys to try it for sure. That's called Beat Saber again. Let's talk about Tetris Effect.
Yeah, so I guess in the same realm.
Yeah, okay. So Tetris Effect.
Shelby played it too?
I have not played Tetris Effect, but I've heard nothing but good things.
Tetris Effect is
musically. I heard it's just incredible.
So the thing about Tetris Effect is it's not just a VR game.
Okay.
And in fact, I played the entire game without VR.
Okay.
And had an incredible experience. Like, it is... So it's funny when you talk to people and you're saying this Tetris game is like a really emotional journey because it's fucking Tetris.
Yeah.
But it really is because they do this thing. Have either of you guys ever played Luminous?
No.
So it does this thing where to start, it's like you need to clear 36 lines to move on to the next level. This is journey mode I'm talking about. There's a bunch of different modes.
I was going to say, is this like a campaign or something?
It's called journey mode, and it's literally a campaign. And what they will have is like 3 to 5 levels that are like discreetly joined as like a world, pretty much. And when you beat one, it jumps you right into the other, carries your board over as it was, whatever. You can play them individually, but it really wants you to play them in like worlds because they all have like a different theme and whatever. But the first level, the best way to describe it is, first level, it starts out, it shows you your speed level and how many lines you cleared. So it says 0 out of 36 when you start, and then it'll say speed level 1. And everything you do with the Tetramino as it goes, whether, like when you spin left, a noise happens. When you spin right, different noise. When you make it fall down, different noise. When you hold... And so what happens is the music, and so you'll have your Tetris board, right? Rectangle, anyone that's ever played Tetris knows what I'm talking about. On the outside, there are visuals that coincide with the music. So the first level is like, you'll see like some blue flashes as you're doing things, and then you'll see like stingrays floating by and like doing these crazy... And then it'll be like this ocean, and there's like a whale crossing, like all this crazy stuff. And the music is going along with what's going on the outside. And then you're basically getting in rhythm with the music. And like, without even knowing, you're like making moves on the Tetris board according to what the music is doing. It's so hard to explain.
Shaking your hips, going left,
but
right.
The thing about it is, so the music, number one, is incredible, but it creates this emotional experience when you're so locked into the Tetris, and then you're hearing the music. It goes well with it. The speed. So every 12 lines you clear, they'll change the speed, and depending on the level and the song, it could speed up, it could slow down, it could whatever. So like usually it'll be like, okay, level 1 is slower. When you clear 12, it'll get a little faster. When you clear another 12, it might get even faster or it might get slow. That's like kind of the basic way that it goes. But when you have to play it first of all, but when you experience like because the song will change at each level. When I say like the speed changes, the song, like the part of the song will change. So it'd be like the intro, bridge, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden for the next, until you clear 12 lines, you'll get a different part of the song.
That's cool.
And it builds up in such an amazing way. There's something about this game when you play it and you experience all the visuals and the sound and stuff. So I played the whole game, beat journey mode, which gets really fucking hard at the end.
I would assume
really hard. And I'm like decent at Tetris, and it was rough. But I got to the end, not in VR. I put on the VR headset, played a few levels. It's a hell of an experience. I think I like it without VR better.
What is differentiated between the two?
The biggest change is you're in everything around you is the visuals now. Okay. It's not your TV.
But if you're looking straight, if you look left, does the board go with you or no? So no. Like you could turn around and have no idea what's going on. Okay. All right.
And you can actually use the left stick to pitch the board in different angles.
Okay. All right.
It's really neat what they did in VR. I see the appeal of it because you do want this locked in experience. It's a synesthesia they call it, where it's like you're fully in this mode. Yeah. But for me, I was like, I really, really love this game in Journey mode. I don't need it in VR, but I get the immersion aspect of it.
I mean, if you can do it, why not?
And what I would say is, I definitely want to have you guys both just play a couple worlds or something, and then decide if it's for you, because it is a game that, again, it is Tetris. Mm-hmm. If you can't get behind that, you can't get behind that. But that is all it is.
Is it better than Tetris Attack?
I mean, it's very different.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Tetris player. The only Tetris I've ever owned was for the Game Boy. I wasn't a Tetris player.
I mean, that's kind of the.
I get the concept.
That's like the Tetris is for Game Boy. But yeah, no, it's an experience that you should definitely have. But like I said, you might play 2 worlds and be like, I get it. This is awesome.
Just not for me.
I just don't need to. You know what I mean? Like, some people don't feel a need for it.
That's fair.
I'm super happy I got it and played it. But
cool, man.
Yeah, not too much more to add. That was Tetris Effect.
Awesome.
And that's gonna wrap up the little VR section. Now we're gonna jump into something super exciting.
I'm so excited, Shelby.
We just played Deltarune. Actually, you didn't play Deltarune
yet.
For some reason.
Still having computer troubles?
Yeah, I don't know how to get past that.
I'm just gonna give my laptop.
Every time I try to do it,
because you gotta play Deltarune.
Every time I try to do it, it says like, oh,
go to the library.
Your computer won't.
You're gonna FaceTime me.
So, yeah.
Next time you try to do that, you're gonna FaceTime me.
You help me out,
and I'll see if I can help you out.
Bring your laptop. Or your desktop.
It's not a laptop.
I don't even have a laptop. I bring my desktop.
So we were talking about Deltarune because I played through it. And, all the talk about Undertale before, Shelby was like, oh, I should really play Undertale. So Shelby played and beat Undertale.
Shelby played and beat Undertale.
And we got to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so it was good. What's the story? 4.5 to 6 hours, something like that? Somewhere around there. And I'm playing it, and all right, I'm going to give you my final opinion on it kind of first, and then give me explanations why. My final opinion, great game, not for me.
Okay.
Not my kind of game. I like the whole. Here's why: because the ending was phenomenal, and I'm so happy I stuck with it because the ending is so good and so interesting. We
gotta say right off the bat, we're gonna spoil Undertale.
Oh yeah, sorry.
If you haven't played it,
no, you didn't spoil anything yet. But just get that out of the way because I don't even know what ending he got. I don't know anything. So
yeah. Well, and then I didn't know that you get different endings and stuff like that. And then I played it, and I was like, all right, you could definitely get different endings, sort of thing. So as I'm starting to play the game and I'm halfway through and stuff like that, my only thought process is, why am I doing any of this? Like, there's no... I mean, at first I'm like, there's no repercussions. There's nothing going on. Like, maybe it'll come afterwards because I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 at the same time, and repercussions is half the game.
Right.
So... But at first I start playing, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I like this RPG aspect. But then it's like... They tell you not to fight. They're like, don't even fight him. Just talk to him. And then you get to walk away. And I'm like, why? That's dumb. That doesn't make any sense. And then I wound up actually playing, and I guess I could have been down 2 completely different paths. I played the entire game and only killed 1 person. And...
That's tragic.
That is actually very tragic.
Yeah, exactly. I killed one because it was I couldn't figure out how to get away from him. It was in the very beginning. Like a dog or something like that. And as soon as you pass the woman, Toriel, yeah. As soon as you pass her, I went up to this dog and he was like, "Oh, you're not going through." And I was like, "All right, well, let me fight him." And then he almost killed me, and I was like, "Well, I don't want to die," so I fought him instead, and I beat him, and that was it. That was the only person I killed in the entire game. And then I get to the end.
Yeah. So what was your ending?
I get to the end, and
it's a flowy ending, right?
It's the flowy ending.
Bullet hell flowy.
Yeah,
at the end?
It was just psychoticness. But I love that it kind of changed a little bit from, I guess you would say 8-bit to whatever it was. Like it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool.
I would say so.
It was so cool. Oh, I do have to say I loved, even if you choose to talk to them, I love this little, you're a heart in a box and you got to either dodge stuff or collect the green one stuff throughout the whole game. I love that aspect. I thought that was incredibly intuitive and you were just playing something that you've never played before. I also love the characters Papyrus and Sans and how they have the font of Papyrus and Sans.
Did you do everything with Papyrus? Did you go on a date with him and stuff? Right?
Yeah. You go on a date, you do all that stuff. But again, as I'm playing through, I didn't realize different stuff would happen. So I thought like this was just the story, doing all this stuff, and that kind of got weird by the end. I was like, this is a little weird, but I was like, I really liked him as a character. And then the other, I think she's a girl, the scientist you meet. Is she a girl?
Oh yeah,
Alphys, yeah.
Or Alphys, whatever.
That one annoyed me. I didn't like that character because it's like I'm walking along and then text. And then text, and I'm like, just let me walk. I was like, just let me fucking play the game. It's a text every 2 seconds. And
this is not a Shelby game.
I was like, oh,
that's our favorite stuff.
I mean, that was the only thing though. I was like, because at the point that was happening, I was like, I'm very low health right now. Like the next guy that I walk into is gonna kill me, and it's like, stop. And I was like, oh god. I was like, I thought this was an enemy. I thought I was gonna die. Stop. And I was like, oh Jesus Christ. But I did like I thought one of the funniest things was, besides Sans and Papyrus, was the characters you fight. Mm-hmm. They're just like so odd. You know, like they're so odd.
And you mostly acted and...
Yeah, I did acting the whole time except for that first character.
So now I forget, it's been
But then you have to fight the guy at the end actually, because he's like, oh, you beat up Doggo. You know, like
who, Sans? You have to...
No. The knight. I don't remember what its name was.
Undyne?
Undyne, yeah. Like
the knight or the final boss?
No, the Undyne, not the final boss. The
Undyne?
knight. And
So
it's
you
like right
killed
before
Undyne?
you go to the final boss. And I don't think I killed Undyne because like even if you fight it all the way, it's just like like you don't kill it, like you whatever you beat it and it's like all right, I'm gonna stop or something like that. And but I got up to that and the only thing she said, she's like, oh, I wouldn't have done this or something, but you killed Doggo. And I was like, I killed Doggo 6 hours ago. I was like, I did that
You killed Doggo.
because I didn't know what to do. I kept trying to get away from Doggo, and he wouldn't leave me alone. But yeah, so I did that, and that was the only thing. And that was the point where I realized, okay, this is where the repercussions come in. Like if I kept killing people, he would go.
Well, they're layered. Yeah, I mean, the thing about this game is, your actions are layered in so many different ways because there are a lot of variations on endings and different things that happen with different characters. When you got to what's the guy's name?
Which one?
The final guy that guards the way back.
Oh, like the big dog looking thing,
Well, he's
the dog in the knight that you mentioned.
I think it was the knight. Yeah. Undyne.
Here's the thing,
like
Undyne.
the one that Papyrus is trying to like work for the whole time.
That's Undyne.
That's Undyne. Undyne's the one with the eye patch and like she's the girl blue.
Yeah. Well, you don't realize until like she takes her helmet off at some point, and then that's what it was. You fight Undyne to a point, and then you just can't beat her, and then you have to run away, and she keeps chasing you through the level. That's what I did.
Okay.
Like I couldn't beat her. I got all the way down to a point I was like, there's nothing I can do that takes away health anymore. Or I can't talk to her anymore. She's just not listening. So I was like, all right, I'm going to run from this fight because I'm about to die. And then it gives you the option to go past her. So I was like, all right, well, let me run past her real quick. And then she chases you down, and then you can run again. And you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. And eventually you get to a point where she's like, I'm not chasing you anymore. Like, this is crazy. And then whatever, she leaves you alone. So I probably got killed by her 6 times before I realized that. And I was like, there's got to be a way to beat this character.
Why can't I think of the guy's name?
So there's...
Are you talking about the final king?
The gatekeeper, yeah. What's his name?
King, I don't remember his name, but
But
I have to say, I loved that whole story where like his son took care of the kid who fell down the well and then went up to go protect him or whatever, and then all the people attacked him for carrying him. Did you guys get the same story?
Toriel's the
it's
mother
Toriel's
figure.
Ex-husband, pretty much.
What's his name? I don't remember his name.
I don't.
I assumed
Why
that.
can't I remember?
I assumed it, but they never said it.
To be fair,
So-
I've played it
In my
3
game.
years. So.
You need to go down the rabbit hole and see the story in this game because you are basically like the character you play as is like another person similar to the one that died. He's right there. What's his name?
Asgore.
Yeah,
Asgore, okay.
Asgore. What do you think of Metatron or Metaton, whatever?
Bedaton I liked. I thought that was cool. At first I was like, this is a stupid character, but then he just kept coming back, and I was
So
like,
good.
all right, this is pretty cool. I like this.
Did you have to
Like-
fight Sans at the end, Shelb?
No,
Okay.
I
You
didn't
only
have to
fight
if
Sans
you kill
on
a lot
a
of
genocide run, yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And then the Photoshop Flowey thing, that was crazy. I was like,
When your
as soon as
computer-
I got to that, I was like, you can't win. There's no way you can win
What'd you
this.
play it on? Did you play it on the computer or did you play it on
No, I
Switch?
played it on Switch.
So did it like
It's
shut
Undertale
down,
for
like same
Switch.
sort of thing? Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. It like
It
shut
closed
down
the
and then it
program?
came back on. Yeah. And it was like a whole to do, but that I liked. I was like, oh, this is like pretty cool because I had no idea what was going on. I was like,
things you need to know, and this is part of why like Undertale fandom is rough because I feel the need to be like, so this is what you didn't get. It's so lame, but it's true. Also, I love Naps the Bluke. Did you talk to him in the ghost town?
Yes, yes, best. The little ghost guy. Yeah.
He's depressed.
Yeah. But I did love like all these characters. Well, actually, these ones I didn't meet any of these ones.
Yeah, you wouldn't have met them.
Yeah. So Sorry, Glide, and Mad Mew Mew. I didn't meet those characters.
No, you wouldn't have met them.
My favorite was the dog.
This one, that was another one.
His head just kept like...
This I really like. The Mad Dummy, who is towards the end of the game, where in the beginning of the game, where you're learning your character, and if you like slash the dummy at the end fights you, and it's like, oh, you beat up my dummy.
Right.
I was like, oh, all right. I was like, that's a pretty cool repercussion.
So,
I like that.
Yeah, the thing you need to know is, number one, the game remembers what you've done. So if you went back into the game and you're like, I want to not kill Doggo this time, and I want to have a perfect run,
you can't
do that. Happen.
Oh, really?
Like, you need to delete your save file and do a new one if you want to do that.
That's awesome.
Because at the end, they'll mention, like...
Oh, so what is it? Like a new
you've done this before,
new game plus sort of thing? Whereas, like, you jump in, but it's...
much more than that. So, no, it's like starting a new game. So they pretend that nothing matters.
But they like still remember. There's still like those moments where they'll even like I know
you kill Doggo in a past life sort of thing.
If you do a genocide run and then you want to do a good guy run,
they won't. You can't do it.
They won't let you.
See, I got to the end and I was like, I only killed one guy.
But there's so many different things about this game. What makes it special to me, at least, where it's like you can not kill anybody pacifist run. And you would get a totally different ending with Flowey, totally different thing. Mm-hmm. Then you can do a genocide run where you literally kill everything. And when I mean everything, you have to find every random battle.
And do
because there's a set amount of random battles. You don't realize that when you're playing. And you have to like purposely just run around in circles, get a random battle until it'll just say, so, like, you encountered a random battle, but there was nobody to fight. Yeah. And that has some crazy stuff, too. You know, I'm not going to sit here and talk about it, all the different endings, but the layers and layers of this game, like, on a meta way, is what makes it really, really special to me, where it's... Because it's not just... Like, that main story I love, and I love the different characters, like, great writing.
That's one thing. The writing's fantastic.
It's so good. It's so smart.
It's really,
it's
really
dumb,
good.
And it's really, really good. And it gets crazy when you really do... Like, they really do some dark stuff in some moments when you do certain other runs and stuff. Like, it really gets
I think
intense.
if there wasn't so many games right now, like I just got the VR, been playing Red Dead... all these other things, I would have went back and played it again, you know? But at the same time, I was just like, oh, I have other things I want to play right now. That's where, like, back in the day, you give me 10 years ago, like, I would have played Undertale and just kept playing it over and over and over again.
But I understand, like, I know a lot of other people that also aren't into it the way that, you know, me and Dan are really into it. Like, I love Earthbound, which is obviously, this is kind of like a spiritual successor sort of thing. I love that sort of... And for people that are even just RPG fans, they're like, this isn't an RPG. This is, like, weird. But
because
like,
you can like, act and not kill.
Whereas, like, in the beginning when you're doing that, to me, I was like, well, then what's the purpose? Sort of thing. And then you realize it, obviously.
But now, the whole point of the game is the purpose is... You're just trying to get home.
Just trying to get out,
Why the hell are you killing things? Like, that's what the game is asking you. It's like, what, are you a psychopath? Why are you hitting things and killing them?
And like, I like how it's very self-referential, and this is the video game medium. Yeah. And like in every game, that's your objective, is you got to get from point A to point B, but then you got to kill a bunch of
so many
things
in between. Are in your way.
So it plays into it. That's the whole point.
But especially, and then when I started it, I knew there was puzzles and stuff. I think I would have been more into it if the puzzles were more difficult. The puzzle is super easy.
It's not meant for...
You know, well, that's the thing. It's like, it's more based off dialogue with characters.
It's a narrative game that happens to have some things. And I think some of the battles, even if you're just acting and you have to move and dodge stuff, can get pretty tough and get interesting. Like that spider fight, I remember being... Did you fight the...
I don't remember fighting a spider.
I don't remember the spider either.
Yeah, you
did. I fight a spider?
Did you guys not go to the spider thing?
I probably did.
Oh, is that when... It's all blue, and you got to go underground. And does he have like a hat?
Yeah.
Okay, then I know.
And they have crazy attacks. But that's the reason. The reason that I love this game is for the little things like that. The little things that happen when you act, and your different options to act on different enemies. Like it'll be like compliment, and then they'll like blush or something. You know what I mean? Like that stuff
some
is
of them are
awesome.
They're really fun.
I like
because it's just such good writing.
You shake your hips a little bit.
The
blob
Muffet
feels like
Muffet's the spider.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I did fight. I do remember.
So that battle's really cool because some of the attacks are really unique.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you didn't fight Sans, but that Sans fight has some crazy attacks.
Yeah.
I did.
I do like Sans. I like Sans in the sense where he's like, all right, listen, just make my brother feel good. Like, just
Sans is
him and, like, his eyes
like compliment him, and
Sans
pretty funny.
is
And he's just like making fun
character.
of him for wearing the uniform all the time.
Yep.
I was like,
no,
that's
I understand that this game's not for everybody. It's certainly not. But I'm curious now. You've played Undertale. Deltarune's free. It takes 3 hours.
Oh, I would still
before Game of the Year, I would say play it. Tell me what you think
because of the way Undertale ended for me and how much I enjoyed the ending and stuff like that and how it all wrapped up, that would still make me want to go play the sequel.
I would also say look up some sort of. I'm sure there's
like
a million
watch
YouTube
other
videos. Just see the genocide run and what happens, and see the pacifist run and what happens, just to know. Yeah. And see if that has any. I'm not trying to like convince you. I'm just saying.
Is there like 3 kind of endings? So it's like if you kill a couple of people, this happens. If you kill nobody, if you kill everybody.
Basically, that's how it works. But there are variations based on second and third playthroughs, depending on what you did in the past.
Okay. My assumption is also like if you're just doing a genocide and you're killing everybody, do the characters in the game kind of react to you? Not just the bosses, but like. They react to you differently, and they'll say, "Well, they like say fuck off."
Some people like run away from you.
Yeah,
like,
some people you don't even get to talk. There's some crazy stuff they do.
Because there was really I guess because Doggo was so earlier, I didn't know there were so many characters
Doggo.
when you're walking through the level, and I'm just like talking to them, and they're like, "All right, you offer me nothing. Like you have dialogue." Some of them are funny, but some of them are just like, "This. Why did I even walk up to you?" But yeah, I think in the very beginning where she's like, "Oh, you're going to be passing through a lot of puzzles and stuff," I was like, "All right, that's cool. I like that." And then they were just super easy. And I was like,
that's not what the game is for.
Yeah.
But I get it. But that's why I say this game is not for everybody.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite games of all time, and Dan really enjoys it as well. But it's certainly not for everybody.
Yeah.
That's why.
But I was intrigued the whole time and going through it, and I'm like, "Wow, this is so weird." But what does happen next? Like I played right through it. I think I beat it in like 2 days. I did like 3 and 2 hours or something, being like 5.
I just like what it has to say. I just like how it takes one of my favorite games, which is Earthbound, and it takes that sort of idea that I don't know if you guys have played Earthbound. Spoiler for Earthbound, but I love that last ending battle where you don't even fight the boss. Just everybody prays for you, and that's how it's like one of those wow, this whole game I've just been hitting people with baseball bats as Ness. And you're like, oh, it was actually the power of love.
That's right. But that's what this game is saying, and it's all it's
but
so
it questions why would you beat everybody with a baseball bat?
Right. So it's basically saying just doesn't make any sense. What is wrong with you?
Which I do. I get that. I like that a lot. It's just not. It's not my type of game.
But that's what I'm saying.
Totally fine.
Do a quick search, see a genocide run, see a pacifist run. And then I would like you to play Deltarune if you have the chance.
It completely made sense to me once it was explained at the end. It was just like, oh, well, now I have to kill you because you killed Doggo. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have just died and figured out a way to do it.
All right. Moving on, I want to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. I know our last episode was all about that. It feels like it's all we've been talking about. But I finished the game. And Dan is at the epilogue now.
Yeah, so I beat the game.
Right.
And then there's
an epilogue. And it's meaty. It took me about 8 hours to beat the fucking epilogue.
You mean?
That's a long epilogue.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still in chapter 4.
Without saying too much, I want to say the epilogue soured me a lot. I still think this is a tremendous game, and when I look back on it as a whole, I think, it does a lot of great things. I did not like the epilogue, and I think it went on for way too long. I think the game itself could have been 20 hours shorter and really benefited from it. But I think there is something to be said about the length of the game building up to a good conclusion. And I know you had mentioned that before.
I know last we were talking about Red Dead.
Yeah, I want to hear. Yeah,
without any spoilers, but last time when we talked about Red Dead, I was right before the end of Chapter 3, and I was like, "This game is just way
we were in the same spot. Yeah.
And this game is way too long. There's just too much. Like same sort of thing. They need to cut it. They need to get to it. Get
to the point.
Having said that, I beat Chapter 6. Yeah, I beat the game. Getting to that, it's kind of like a Tarkovsky movie. Like I get it, like it's long and it's drawn out, and you build these relationships, and you see the way that the gang goes, so that when you finally get to the end, it is just
100 hours worth of character development.
That's just kind of just tumbling down, and you're just like, all right, I get why Rockstar did it, because it is that sort of, you get so connected to the gang, to the people, to this lifestyle, to this, he starts realizing, Dutch is a shady kind of guy, and just all these sort of things where you have this idea for the first 70 hours, and you're just like, all right. But then the last 70 hours, you're just like, oh, okay, that's what, it makes the payoff so much more.
70 hours.
It really is ridiculous.
But it makes the payoff even more.
You guys are way past, as you both beat the game.
You're Chapter 4?
I'm in Saint Denis. I just killed the Italian guy.
Okay.
Oh.
We're not really talking spoilers.
Well, we did a spoiler last week. Oh, no, we didn't.
It's all good.
It doesn't matter. That's a really minor. Who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you still got a little bit to go, but I'm sure you can see like that end of Dan. You're right. That end of Chapter 3, everything's starting to kind of
that walk, the short walk through. Was it a long walk through a small town?
That was so cool when they're all just lined up.
Well, that was cool. I'm talking about
incredible
when you're walking through town in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's why I'm saying that series of moments.
There's moments that
it's like bang bang. It just hits you like 4 in a row, and you're like, whoa. It's really.
It is. It's like 3 missions in a row where you're just like, shit's happening.
So good.
So if they cut out like 30 of those other missions and just made but having said that, the
time spent with the people.
I'm comparing it to a Tarkovsky movie. Everybody likes their Russian cinema. It's like, it's that sort of. It's long and it's drawn out, but then the end, you're just like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. So, and I agree with you 100%.
It's different for a video game, though, because I feel like a video game, you got to, I don't know, maybe it's different for a movie than a video game. I feel like a video game, you need it to be more entertaining and more enticing.
Yeah.
No, just because you're playing it,
The thing that I want to say about it, these are going to be my final thoughts until Game of the Year when we spoil the shit out of it, and I talk about all the things I liked and didn't like, but the entire time I played this game, and there were peaks and valleys, I was happy with what I was getting from it. I was enjoying it, and the epilogue pales so much in comparison to the rest of the game that I'm telling you, it ended like I had a sour taste in my mouth about the game.
Don't even play the epilogue? Just say, Dan, don't even play the epilogue.
You have to. It wraps up the game.
And what happens? Does it after Chapter 6 credits roll?
No.
No. Not what happens. I mean, like, does it?
No,
because you finished the game, but it's like
you finished the game.
Yes, that's all you got to know. You finished the game. Okay, it pops up. It says epilogue, and then you play the epilogue.
Okay, all right.
Maybe me telling you guys that it takes 8 hours, it will help you, because I was like,
you won't expect to be in it.
Like every mission, I'm like, there's more of this. Come on, like I was not. I understand why they did it, and again, there are a couple of good moments in that, but oh my god, I'm excited for Game of the Year because I can't wait to talk about that. But that's why I'm telling you, even to the end of Chapter 6, even again peaks and valleys, I was like, this is a great, well-told story. Like I'm happy that I'm experiencing this, and that epilogue, man, I'm telling you,
it still suffers from that. I think it's a little too big for its own.
Yeah.
Good.
And, I think we've said enough about Red Dead for now.
They were absolutely going for that. They were going for as big as they could, as much as you could.
We only have...
Here's your sandbox, go play in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. We only have 2 more episodes until Game of the Year, so we're coming up on it. Yeah.
Oh, God, it's almost December.
A month, man.
Yeah. All right, so that's Red Dead 2. I am going to take control right now and talk about 3 games that I played that these guys haven't played. They're all older games. This has been, for me, Dan talks about a chink in his armor. What game did you always say that for? Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, Metal Gear Solid, yeah.
Always talked about that. So for me, as a person that loves indie games, smaller games, story-based games, A studio called Blendo Games. Brandon Chung is the head. You know, he is Blendo Games, and I have never played any of his games, and I have always heard such amazing things about these games. I want to play them. So finally, I was like, you know what? It was before all these VR games I jumped into. I was like, let me just go back. Let me play these Blendo games. So I played Gravity Bone, 30 Flights of Loving, and Quadrilateral Cowboy. So I'll start with Gravity Bone. Gravity Bone is
very interesting names going on
there. So I'll start out by saying, actually, Blendo Games has a very unique aesthetic that I can't really explain here. You'd have to see it to know it. But Brendan Chung makes games that are usually short, story-based games that are all about like quick hard cuts and like hard cuts to flashbacks, and it's all very cinematic through a video game lens. Like there's a difference between Rockstar cinematic, where you're like, okay, they're trying to be a movie, and this is like you're doing what a movie does, but in a video game. It's hard to explain without seeing it, but Gravity Bone is like it's
sort of like it sounds like a Family Guy episode where it's just hard cuts and flashbacks.
Well, it's hard cuts and flashbacks, but but it's not all flashbacks. It's just like it's kind of like ambiguity in the hard cuts. You know what I'm saying? Like
they matter.
It's so hard to explain, but basically I'll say Gravity Bone is like a 20-minute game. It's free on Steam. Came out 2010 or 8 or something, and super short, really, really enjoyable experience. I'm super glad I played it. 30 Flights of Loving is I don't know if it's a direct sequel, but it's in the same universe. Another one, really short, 20 minutes, half hour, couple bucks.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't know if you said this before. I didn't mean to cut you off. PC or?
Yes.
Okay.
They're all only on PC. They are out on Steam.
So did you say that? I apologize.
I don't know if I did. So thank you for.
You said they were out on Steam. Dan wasn't listening.
I'm sorry.
Typical. So basically, these are first-person, story-driven, light mechanics, light puzzle solving, nothing too crazy, and then you have Quadrilateral Cowboy. So Gravity Bone, 30 Flights of Loving are the very similar styles of games, and again, they involve the same characters in a way, like they're related. They're short story, first-person games. Quadrilateral Cowboy is in that same universe, but it's way more involved, and it's excellent. This game came out in 2016. It's a first-person game in a similar way to the other two, but it's a hacking game.
Okay, cool.
And it does some really cool stuff aesthetically with hacking because, like I said, Blendo Games has a very unique aesthetic where like there's no realism. You know what I mean? Like you know right away this is a video game. It's boxy, like, you know, the character. Once you see it, you'll understand what I'm saying. But it's like this game, when you jack in for the first time to do hacking, you're looking at like you're a character moving, and you're looking at this wall of white text, and you like walk up to it, and you see all like the lines of code and stuff, and it's really, really fucking cool. But the way this game especially, the other two I could see being on a console, but this game needs to be on a PC because you're typing in the code to program, to like execute your orders. So it'll start out by being like, okay, there's a door. You throw down your deck, type in door open, door 9 dot open, enter.
I feel like you've played. Wait a second. I feel like I've heard about this game before.
No.
You didn't play this?
You might be thinking of Exapunks, but it's different.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah, it's far different. I know it sounds the same to both hacking, but it's different. This is like,
well, it's just a Watch Dogs game at that point.
So you type in like door open, door 9 dot open, and then parentheses 10, and it'll stay open for 10 seconds. Open the door, grab your deck, walk through, door shuts behind you. Basic. Then it'll say, okay, there's an alarm on the door. If it's open for more than 3 seconds at a time, the alarm goes off. It's like, okay, door 9 dot open, 3, quickly grab your thing, walk through, door shuts. Then it'll be like, okay, you have to get through 2 doors, and you can't bring your deck with you. So it's like, it like layers it in, and it almost becomes Portal-like in the way that you are like stringing these things together, but you're typing out all these commands, and it is so good, and it gets so deep in the stuff that you do. Again, I feel like this is the theme of the day, but it's a hard game to wrap your head around until you try it.
Cool.
The thing I will say is, I think Gravity Bone and 30 Flights of Loving are excellent story experiences, and again, they're so short. I would definitely say you guys should play. I know it's Game of the Year time. Don't play them now, but play them at some point because they're awesome. This game is a very Quadrilateral Cowboy is a very like watch somebody play and be like, that's not for me, or it is, because it's a really great game and I'm really enjoying it, but it's certainly not a game for everybody.
I do like coding a lot, so
you should check it out.
Seems like something I would want to check out.
And when we do our video series about PC games this year, Exapunks is going to be one of them. And I'm curious to see what you have for that. All right, so that's my little Blendo Games block. Gravity Bone, 30 Flights of Loving, and Quadrilateral Cowboy.
Cool.
So, next, I had some people over last weekend. Just a little get together, play some games, and
shindig, small gala, if you will,
a little mini gala.
Touches and cummerbunds.
Yeah, check out my cummerbund. We played a couple of Jackbox Party Packs.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Specifically, Jackbox Party Pack 5 just came out this year, and it has a rap battle that is so good.
It's incredible.
So what it does is, if you guys don't know what Jackbox is, it's on consoles, and you use your phones to play various like party games. Yeah. So it'll be like a trivia thing, or everyone types in a response to something, and then everyone votes on which one's the best, whatever.
Somebody draws a crude drawing, and then you have to guess what it is.
You have to guess what it is. It's various games like that. They're all awesome. I love the Jackbox Party Packs.
Have you played?
I played all the Jackbox.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
So 5, it's called, the minigame is called like...
The rap battle one?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a rap battle where it starts out by, it'll ask you for one word. So it'll say, give me a plural noun. Type in a plural noun. Then it spits out a whole line with your plural noun ending it. So it'll be like notepads, and it'll say...
Madverse City.
Madverse City.
Madverse City, yeah.
So it'll give you a line with your word at the end, and then you have to type a full line that rhymes with that line that they gave you. So you really are writing out like these rap battles, and they are read in like a text-to-speech robot, because they go head to head, and they have like this animation of like these giant robots like mechs. Like rapping to each other, and it is so good.
I'll tell you what, Dan and I versed each other on the very first game, and we probably had
those are the best.
We probably had the 2 best verses out of everybody in the entire game, and we just happened to verse each other in the first one.
Yeah, but it is a really, if you get the right group together and do this, it is so much fun. Yeah. And it's got the usual stuff. It's got a new You Don't Know Jack, which is like one of my I love You Don't Know Jack. I love trivia, so. This Jackbox Party Pack 5 is definitely worth buying.
Stuff. Some of the ones we play with, You Don't Know Jack, Quiplash.
I love Quiplash.
Yeah, a Fibbage.
I don't know, my favorite is the mystery dating game, whatever that one is.
Yes, yeah.
Is that the 4th
That's
Jackbox?
4th,
And I think, again, with with deals going on right now, I just was on Switch yesterday flipping through. Yeah. And the older ones, I think it was Jackbox 2 and 3, are half price, they're like $12.50 or whatever. And then the new one was a few bucks off. I think, what are they, like $25 each?
Yeah, normally.
And it was like 20, I think, or something like that.
Cool. Just good for party.
So yeah, it's
they are
fantastic
awesome
for party. For anybody. Who does, everybody's got a phone in their pocket.
It's so much fun. Yeah. So much fun. But anyway, I just want to bring that up.
Cool.
We don't need to dwell on it.
No.
Shelby, tell me about Minute. Me and Dan played Minute.
Can you tell us about Minute in a minute? Do it. 60 seconds now.
Timer.
No, because I have to say, I played Undertale and I played Minute because those were 2 of the indie games you guys told me to pick up on, and Minute is amazing. It's amazing.
So Dan and I, if you guys remember earlier in the year, Minute came out. We both played it, both loved it.
Yeah.
So we said, Shelby, you should play it before Game of the Year, along with Celeste, a couple other games. So I want to hear about Minute.
I was immediately engaged in this game because I was like, all right, this is cool. This is just like when I played Zelda on Game Boy for the first time. And I go down and you get the sword and he's like, oh, you picked up the cursed sword? Dummy. And and then you start dying over and over again. And I was like, all right, well, the first thing I'm going to do is explore everything. So I'm exploring. You go to, I think you go to the left. You have that lighthouse. You go to the right. There's like a dude just saying, hey, come chill in the water. The water's beautiful. You know, like stuff like that. And I was like, this is so cool because you're almost on the edge of your seat the whole time, and you're playing a hand because you know you see the. I was playing on Switch, so that's the thing. You see that, but at the same time, you're just sitting there and you're like, you're like, oh, I got 13 seconds left. What do I do? You know, like, and you're trying to figure out all this stuff. And I like the fact I played through it once, and I want to play it again, because I didn't collect everything, you know, and I love collecting everything. But I'm playing through it, and there were a few parts where this was kind of the puzzle game I was looking for after having just come off Undertale.
Right, okay. You were looking for something a little more...
I was looking for something where it was...
engaging in,
exactly, where
in a
it was,
mechanical way.
Yeah, and not only that, where it's like, not only do you have this countdown, which is an aspect completely on its own, but you're like, well, I got to figure out what to do with these items, you know? I like you get to the hotel, and the guy's like, oh, go find all my guests, and you're like, well, where the hell are they?
Right.
You know, like...
And they do a good job of... You get different items, and you'll be like, how am I supposed to get to there?
Yeah.
In the time, like,
there's sense. I think right away, right above your house in the beginning, you chop the things, and you go to the bridge, and the guy's like, I'll get you across this bridge, you go kill those guys. You don't get to kill them for like a little while. They're not easy, and you just to get to them. And it took me a little while to figure out how to throw the sword, because I couldn't find the... you have
to get something to throw it, right?
You have to go into the desert and like find that random guy and like kill all the plants or something like that. I guess spoilers for this game.
Oh, yeah. You talk about
the game only takes like an hour and a half to beat or something like that.
Well, if you know where everything is, you can get it pretty quick.
So yeah, I did. I met him like twice and I was like, I don't know what to do with this guy. He just sits there and he's like, hey, like in the middle of the water in the oasis over there, and by like the third time I was like, he's got to do something. Like I can get to him, but I don't know what to do with him. And you just start chopping stuff, and then whatever, you get the sword throat thing. And I was like, this makes it so much easier. So now I can go on to the next thing.
It's full of those moments, though, right? Where you're like,
so many. You're
like,
that
thing I saw.
That was like him with the bubble gun or whatever in Prey. Remember, you were like, I couldn't figure out how to get to it.
Exactly,
because you walked through.
I missed it. Yeah, I just completely missed it.
But there were a couple of things. As far as like talking to the characters, and one of them's like, oh, hey, you just get there and there's like 10 seconds you're like trying to scroll through, and what is it, the funniest one I thought was the old man at the lighthouse who like takes forever, and it's literally you have to get to him and it takes 59 seconds total for him to finish his dialogue.
Yeah, I platinumed this game.
Did you? Oh, it's so good.
So it was such a fun platinum because you had to do all those little things that you're talking about. You basically do everything in the game in order to get the platinum. But the one thing I'll say, and you talked about it right in the beginning, the fact that when you beat this game, because you can stumble across the ending. Like I'm saying, like you can beat it, and you didn't know you were just about to beat it. Like you know the end's near, but you don't know that's the very end. Yeah. And once you beat it, you have to start a new game if you want to.
Yeah, if you want to continue.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
So for me, platinuming it, I was like, you kidding me? Like I have 9 out of 10 of these, like the octopus tentacles or whatever.
Yeah, and I picked up on a lot of those, like you fly, or not fly, but sail south and you like meet that little island or whatever. And I love that it's
so many cool
you like get to a house. How many times I was almost at a house and I was like, come on, get there.
Yep.
Like I just want to save here. I don't want to have to walk all the way back.
For me, the best part of it was that once you realize that that's what the game, because I went in not knowing anything about the game.
So the best way to go into it.
Honestly, that was the best for me when I realized, like, oh, it's one of those games where I got to figure out, okay, there's something here, but I need something to get in. Like, once I figured out that was the shtick.
Yeah.
Puzzle.
Like, this is amazing.
I love, because it's a puzzle game, and then the time thing. Yeah. And it's like the time thing made it so much more fun for me, because it was like, it made me want to sit there, and I was like, it doesn't get stale where you're sitting in a box and you're like,
never.
Oh, I don't know what to do here, and you're like sitting there trying to go back and forth. And like, something's got to do here.
Yeah, once you figure that
because you keep dying and you're like, you know what, screw it, I'm going the other way, Yeah. And I got I think I got about half the stuff, something like that. I don't remember. I gotta go look at. Well, I gotta restart the game, but It's so good.
It's great.
It's so cool. At first, I was looking at the guy.
I
was like looking at the little guy. I was like, this little guy looks so dumb. Like all the other characters. Yeah, he's got like big. It's like a stupid duck. Like he looks so ridiculous.
Yeah, awesome game.
And searching for all the hearts was fun. Like trying to get my health up, and I always try and do that. Like I try and max out my health and stuff so that I can make the game easier as I go on. And the biggest one is I got the bone in the graveyard and couldn't figure out what to do with it. I was like, what do I do with this stupid bone? And I brought it. There's like a dog. And, the dog near the bar, like the wolf dog with the eye patch. I brought it to him, and I was like, he's going to love this. So I give him the bone, and he hits you and kills you. And you die. I was like, here's the bone. You can't give it to him, so you're like, do an attack towards him, and you hit him, and he swipes in your dead.
I don't think I ever did that.
That's awesome. So, because he was like the first thing that came to mind. I was like, once I figured it out, I was like, what do I do with this bone? I kept going through the graveyard. I was like, all right, there's nothing in the graveyard to do with this bone. I kept going to the ghost stuff, and I was like, fucking wolf guy. I was like, let me give it to that guy. Dead. And then I finally figured it out with the going home and the dog. But
dog inside your house.
Oh, so good.
Spoilers.
Yeah, totally spoilers, but I enjoyed every
I'm glad you like that
second of that game.
It's
every
a lot of fun.
Second of it.
And like it's just the perfect. We talking about Red Dead and how games are just too long. It's like the perfect amount. It's just
great.
But again, like he's saying, it's almost like Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you want to go to the boss right away, you can go to the boss right away. This one,
there are certain gates. There are certain things you need to get
to
certain
absolutely. You need to play for like at least an hour probably before you can get to it.
One of the trophies is like beat the game in 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you could beat the game.
And I got it. I did it, yeah.
You just need like the sword, right? And that's
you need to get somewhere. No,
or the speed boots or something.
You need
like
speed boots, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And you need to figure out how to get... I did like that haunted house thing where you're like...
Oh, so cool.
You kept going and it's like, this is the right floor, says Mary.
Yeah.
And you go outside and there's Mary.
Yeah. Yeah, that game has a lot of charm too.
It's good.
I enjoy
the writing, the characters in that game too. I know they're slight in the whole game, but
yeah, they can't
really
have
good.
too much dialogue to take up
it's
time.
Nice,
but
though. It is
so
really good.
It's so good.
All right, cool. That was Minute. And when that
MINIT.
Yeah, I think I'm curious where it's gonna land for us because it is a great game.
It's great. But there's
it's in a year full of great games.
I don't play a ton of indie games, but I enjoyed the heck.
But when
out
I
of
did,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, next one we get you on is Celeste.
Which I downloaded last night. So
awesome.
That's my next one.
All right, Dan, let's hear. I heard you played a little more Mega Man 11.
Beat Mega Man 11.
Beat it.
I beat Mega Man 11.
Thoughts?
Good for you.
So one thing I want to say before, that yellow devil, huh? That yellow devil,
tough
man.
boss.
But always,
He's so
forever,
hard.
for always, every time. You're absolutely right. So last time I was playing it, I think I only did three bosses, and I was just totally not. I thought it was a tight platformer, but you're right. I think I tend to like the originals more. Just as I think it's more of a nostalgia thing. And then looking at it objectively, I agree. Get through this game, Wily's Castle, all that stuff. I think as a technical platformer and as a game, it is one of the best Mega Man games. I think it's actually
11?
11. I think it's one of the technically great games. The platforming, the controls are tight.
I haven't played, but it looks like the visually fantastic. Like looks amazing.
And just some of the cool upgrades that you can get, just the sort of, because in Mega Man games, you can you beat a boss and you get whatever power they have. Those are awesome. Really, really cool.
Yeah, some of the powers are cool.
Yeah, super cool. I still, though, my heart still belongs to, and I'll totally admit this, it's totally pure nostalgia. My heart belongs to the older games.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, the voice acting is terrible in this game. I hate
boy.
that. I wish they took that out.
Boy.
I wish they took that out.
What game were we just talking about? That terrible voice acting. Something else. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, no, it was, but they, and Mega Man X did that too, where they had these terrible cutscenes, and it's just I wish they would just keep. I wish they would just keep it to
because the originals don't have stuff like that.
No,
right?
because I couldn't.
How bad? How bad is that robot friend of yours?
Oh my gosh, it's just so terrible. Hey, what did they call him? What's Mega?
They call him
name?
Mega. No, they just call him Mega.
Yeah, hey Mega.
Yeah, Roll always says that too. What's up, Mega?
So
holy
bad.
shit!
It's so bad.
Shut up.
But those things don't take away from how good
they're so ancillary.
The game is, but still my heart belongs to, but that's pure nostalgia. The way that I'm gonna.
But maybe it's not. You can feel that way. It's not like a.
As somebody who didn't play the Mega Man games back in the day and have only played since the Legacy collection came out, those old games are hard as hell.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
and
God,
the Yellow Devil
so
sucks.
difficult.
Always. The Yellow Devil is always terrible.
He felt extra rough in
Always
this game.
terrible.
I don't know why.
Always
He felt a
terrible.
little extra rough.
He was since the beginning. He was in the first.
Yeah,
right?
he was in the first.
He's just the worst. The Yellow Devil is just
Does suck.
so hard.
It was cool to see him
Always.
though, wasn't it?
It was
The
a
first
nice
time we saw him, you're like,
it was a
oh,
nice
that's
throwback,
cool.
but still, it's still terrible and hard. Always terrible. So that was that.
Cool.
Interesting to see what's gonna be like game of the year. I don't think I was as in love with it as you were,
Right.
but I am glad I got to Wiley's Castle. I'm glad
you
that
have too.
you know what I mean. I feel like you always need to do that to kind of get a.
I'm happy you did that, and it's fine if you
Mega Man 11 went through Ni no Kuni.
Did you beat Nino Kuni?
Beat Ni no Kuni
No,
too?
well, so it's so hard because me and my sister, we have very limited time together, and that's a game that we play together. So we get to play like once a month.
Gotcha.
We beat Broadleaf. I think we're in chapter 8. So I think
I mean, you're going back a couple of months now.
Okay.
I mean, I know Broadleaf. I don't know what chapter.
I think there's only like 2 more chapters left.
Broadleaf
in the game,
ended
so.
pretty cool though, huh?
Honestly, yeah, I hated it at first, but
Yeah,
That's
I
what
felt it.
I remember
awesome.
you saying that last time, and Dan was like, "Dude, you got to be Broadleaf."
It ends awesome.
because it
The
ends.
end
is
is
cool.
The end is good.
It's
Broadleaf.
cool.
It ends really
The
cool.
game it's a great game, and
I love it. I really do. I love it, and I honestly that'd be one of my top 10 of the year. But
That's what I'm saying, man. Game of the year is going to be
It's
really
really
interesting.
interesting.
but
But
it's
you're
gonna
right.
be the first time I've never made a list of all the
I
games I
know.
played in the
You're
game.
gonna be excited.
Man, here we go.
Fun.
And then just for fun, I replayed through Grim Fandango. I don't know
played
if
the
you
whole
guys
thing?
did. Yeah, it's
I
just a
love
fun
that
game.
game
It's
so
if you're
much.
into the LucasArts games. It's
Yeah.
the point and click adventures.
It's such a good one, though.
It is good. It's probably my
such a good
favorite.
one.
I probably like it more than.
They
Day of the
remastered
Tentacle-
it, right?
Day of
It's
the Tentacle
it's
is mine,
remastered?
but,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
they remastered.
they
it for
remastered both of
PS4,
them?
Remastered
Okay.
PS4, yeah.
So that's what you were talking about. That's what I was.
I was talking about
Day of the Tentacle. Yeah.
I gotta say, I think I like it better than Day of the Tentacle.
It's right there with me.
I just like the aesthetic and just like the
Oh, it's so
story
cool.
and like all these characters. Like they go into like this old like beatnik
It's like
sort
skeleton
of like.
characters.
Oh,
right?
it's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's like they
I haven't played. I just I know.
and they have they have the Che Guevara revolutionary guy.
Oh,
Like,
it's awesome,
it's so really cool.
I mean, although any Tim Schafer point and click,
Yeah, Tim Schafer's the man. So
it's fucking great. I
awesome.
love Grim
So that was it. Yeah. So just
All right, cool. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back with a couple more things. All right, Shelb, tell me about the Spider-Man DLC that you played.
Yeah. So. I'm the only one who played it so far, right? The Spider-Man DLC.
I'm probably not going to play it. I really don't play a lot of DLCs.
So
weird thing.
neither do I. But you know what? I think this was the first time I jumped into DLC because of how quickly it came out afterwards.
Oh, yeah, it was only like a month after.
Yeah, and the game came out, what, early October?
September.
September.
Yeah.
So September, and then they released DLC in early November or late October.
Late October,
something.
yeah.
Late October, late November, late December is what they're going for.
Gotcha.
And I think the relevance and how much I enjoyed Spider-Man as a game is why I went back to it. Because you were just talking about Ni no Kuni 2. I freaking love Ni no Kuni 2. They have DLC for that. I'm not going back to play that. That's just not something I would go back to play. I loved Red Dead Redemption, the first one. I never went back and played the zombie version just because it was so far afterwards. So I think that's the only reason I went back and played this DLC. So whatever, it's $25. It's the...
But you get all three of the...
You do get all three. I was worried about that at first when I got the first one. But it's the City That Never Sleeps package. You get the Heist, Turf Wars, and I forget what the third one's called.
Okay.
So I played the Heist, which is where you're with Catwoman.
Black Cat.
And Black Cat, sorry. Black Cat. And I know, right? Jeez, I just Marvel DC'd the shit out of that. You're with Black Cat, and which I'm happy about because you chase her around the whole time during the game.
Right.
And you see her, but you never really see her, sort of thing. And she's such a fleshed out, good character in the comics. So I was like, I want to see more of this character.
Right.
And you do. So immediately you're like you're chasing her down, and then you're working with her, and you're going against Hammerhead is who you're going against, and he's kind of like the main villain throughout all the DC stuff. And the gameplay,
DLC.
You keep
What?
bringing
You
DC.
said DC.
DC.
Through all the DC stuff, you said.
Oh, I meant to say DLC.
You got
DLC.
DC on the mind.
Oh my goodness. So whatever, you're working with her, and it makes the combat really cool because there's this one part where you're going and you're just working together, and she sort of works in a stealthy mode just like you do, and you could like kick a guy and then she comes down and just pummels him into the ground, or,
that's cool.
or you like fling a guy
I'm
up.
always a sucker
and
for combo
she gets him in the
moves
middle.
with
Like
superheroes.
there was just this one part on a rooftop like that was just so cool.
That's awesome.
And I don't want to ruin the story for it or anything like that, but it's
You
a good
liked it,
story,
though? It's
and
interesting.
it's legit. Like it's Act 1 of a 3-act system.
Okay.
And it's
It
only,
really is.
a couple hours?
I think it took me an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to get through
Cool.
it. It's like 5 missions. They add 2 other things you could do throughout the city. One of them's the speedball, I think her name is, or whatever. I hate them. I hate them so much. I hated her as a character. She sucks. But it's like it's something else to do throughout the city, something else to go around, like the Sable things and stuff like that, that you go around and you get to do. So they add more of that, so you're actually, once you beat these 5 missions or whatever, you get stuff to do. And then it ends on a cliffhanger. And then you're like, oh, well, when's the second one coming out? I just downloaded the second one, haven't gotten to it yet. It looks really good. Hammerhead's gets more predominant.
Focal role.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm excited for it. And it's good. And if you do get that feeling where you're like, you know what, I just want to swing around the city real quick, I recommend picking it up. It's
cool.
Good.
Right. And what's that DLC called again?
It's called The City That Never Sleeps. There's the full thing. The first one's called The Heist. The second one that just came out is called Turf Wars.
Okay, cool. Check it out. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I enjoyed the game a lot. Again, I'm bad with DLC. I don't really know why. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I'm not into DLC.
It's just more of the game that you like.
I think the fact that it's...
I never play it. I don't know.
I think the fact that it's short, episodic things might make it a little better for some people, and the fact that it came out so close to the release of the real game. But because it's just like, oh, if you go back and play it, you're going to play it for an hour anyway. You know, like you might as well do this extra mission stuff.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
And there is a Mary Jane mission in it too, so it's like they bring some of that other stuff. And Miles is actually fleshed out a bit more. It's cool.
Awesome.
It sounds
they bank on you having beat the game already.
Right.
You know. So
good.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more game to talk about. This is going to close out our episode here. Hitman 2.
I've heard a lot about this.
Yes.
I heard Sean Bean's in it.
Well, he's the first elusive target. But I'm going to get into... So, I hadn't really talked to you guys about Hitman in the past. The 2016 Hitman that came out from IO Interactive is a fantastic game. Like, it is... I wouldn't really call it underrated because people did like it a lot. But I feel like in critical discussions, a lot of people don't talk about Hitman. And it's actually really fucking good. The reason it's good is because it knows that it's almost like a slapstick comedy, and it plays into it. Like, it doesn't play it super straight, where it's like, we're cool, Hitman. Like, there's stuff like that in it, but it's not the focal point. The focal point is something goes wrong, and you have to like throw an axe at somebody, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's more like Leslie Nielsen, like crazy stuff happening around you, and you're like, ugh. Or like you dress up, you're Agent 47, and in one of the missions in Hitman 2016, you have to pretend to be this drummer, and so you dress up as this drummer, and then he's like awesome at the drums. He's like nailing all these cymbals, and it's like. It's so like outlandish.
And nobody sees the barcode on the back of his head.
Yeah, but they know it and they do it on purpose.
What's the studio? What studio does Hitman?
It's IO. It's they were owned by Square Enix. There's actually a long thing because they got cut loose from Square Enix last year.
Oh, okay.
And they went on their own, and now they just made Hitman 2. But so I have really great fondness for the I call it the original because
that's been around
the Hitmans before 2016 did not understand that. They did not get that this is a ridiculous, outlandish, like silly thing. They were like, I'm sure they have bits and pieces, but I played them in the past, like Blood Money and stuff like that, and it's like they're good, they're well made, but it's not the same. Yeah. It's more about like being a cool guy, like pulling off some crazy stuff. It's like that's not what these games are.
It's like an action movie that doesn't realize that it's...
It's like fucking MacGruber. It's like, it's ridiculous. And they know it now.
Have you played?
I haven't played any of the games,
no. Me neither. The only interaction I have is the movie with Timothy Oliphant or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think they got it either.
Not great. But, so basically, this is the sequel to Hitman 2016. They're just calling it Hitman 2, which I think is hilarious because there have been 12 Hitman games. And it's really fucking good. The thing that I will say is, number one, it feels like Hitman 1.5. It's the same engine. It's largely the same mechanics, same type of game as that first one. It has all new environments. It has all new targets. Like it is a new game, but it really feels like just a continuation of that 2016 game, for better and worse. I think the downside of that is the 2016 game was a bit of a surprise, and now this is kind of a known quantity, so it loses a little bit of the edge on that. But it is excellent. And some of the stuff they set you up to do in some of these missions is just, it's too good. It's so good. There's one, and I don't mind spoiling a few of these. I'm not going to go through all of them. But one that's really good is like in, I think you're in Mumbai, and you dress up as this barber because the barber has like a side business, and so you're trying to get this big drug dealer or whatever, bad dude, like you're trying to kill him, but you don't know who he is. Like you've never seen him. It's the rare thing where like usually you have all this data on the guy. Mm-hmm. This is just like, this is his nickname. We don't know what he looks like. Try to find out information. So you like sneak into the base and you overhear people talking about this barber, and you get a picture. You find a picture of him that they gave the barber to say like, hey, this is him. This is a recent picture of this guy. He's going to be coming in, ask you for a shave, and then you're going to, talk. I think he's like, the barber does like an information dealing or something. So this guy, it looks nothing like Agent 47. Like he lives in Mumbai, like clearly, you know what I mean? Like, and he basically, Agent 47 dresses up as him. And he walks up, and the reason that this game is so funny is because they really play up Agent 47's dialogue in this, because he'll do like small talk with characters, and he just sounds so ridiculous when he talks. So he's sitting there at, he opens up the barbershop, and he's waiting for the guy, and people are coming up, hey, can I get a haircut? And he's just like, no, I'm busy. And then like he'll say like a couple canned lines, and then you see the guy, he comes in. And he's just sitting there. He's like, oh, hey, like nothing's wrong, and you just cut his throat like on the barbershop chair. The one that really, really got me was there's actually a really cool level that's in like suburbia, USA, which they never really do, like just a town. It's usually like these crazy, beautiful, exotic locations. And there's one where this guy, so you're trying to kill this guy and his main bodyguard. And his bodyguard is looking to buy a house in the neighborhood because he's like, I'm this guy's bodyguard and I have to drive in every day. Like, I'll just buy a house as a house for sale. So you kill a real estate agent and dress up as him. And you dress up as a real estate agent and you have to do like a showing to this guy and his like another guard that's with him. And Agent 47 doesn't know anything about real estate or anything. So he walks in and he's on in the living room, and he's like, so this room, the floors are a nice dark color. They hide stains really well. Like, he only knows like how to be an assassin. You know what I mean? And he's like, he says something like,
fine dining.
He's
and
like,
breathing.
the sound really, you won't hear anything from outside in here. Like, and the guy's like, I don't care. And he'll say like, it's like, why this doesn't make any sense. Like, I want a fucking house. It's so good. But yeah, just silly stuff like that, and then the silly ways that you can kill people, like dress up as a tattoo artist, and you can do a number of different, this game shtick is you can do all these crazy things for the assassinations. And so when you become the tattoo artist, you can poison the ink, and he'll just die later on, or you can like convince the target to like tell his bodyguard to leave, so he's like, stop moving, like, I can't do this if you're moving. And so everyone leaves, and you just stab him in the head, you know what I mean, like with the tattoo needle. Like, it's
so you get a choice kind of thing.
Oh, you get tons of choice, because these are just like the setup ones. Like, you can take these guys out in any manner you want. It's just they probably have like 10 per level of different like specific story missions that you can do, or you can just walk up to him, shoot him, take off. You know what I mean? But it really does a great job at being an interesting sandbox. Is it
open world?
So it's not open world. It's discrete levels, but the levels are huge. So you like.
You can kind of go wherever you want.
You can do so much different stuff in one level, and there's so many different outfits you can take, and like, I was a mascot for one of them to like get close to somebody. Like, it's just funny stuff like that, and it's just a really, really well made, really good game. I like that IO did this outside of the banner of Square Enix, and I hope that people buy it.
Awesome.
So that's Hitman 2. I definitely recommend it.
Was it just this year it came out?
Yeah, it just came out in November. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a great game. Anybody that, if what I just said sounds fun or interesting or whatever, it really is a really, really well-made, fun Hitman game.
All right, cool. That sounds cool.
So with that, I think we're going to wrap up the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Dan, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Shelby. Thanks for joining me.
Shelby, thank you as always.
Dan, thanks for joining me.
Is this what we're going to do?
I guess so. I got to thank Aaliyah for my Mario shirt. I told her I'd give her a shout out.
There you go. Get your shout out. Oh, sorry. So, catch us in 2 weeks. We only have a few more episodes until our Game of the Year. So that's going to be an exciting one. We're probably going to have to split that episode into 2, but we'll put them up at the same time. And with that, catch you next time.
Thank you so much.
Peace. What's up, guys? It's Dan from Circle Back. I'm just here to let you know you can find everything that we do at circlebackgaming.com. If you just want the podcast, we're on iTunes. If you just want the video, we're on YouTube. So catch us either place. Thanks.